So I'm gonna mute my YouTube channel because I was testing it with my friend earlier today. I made
Mhm.
sure I was like, I'm gonna be smart. I'm gonna be smart about this one. And it's so delayed. It's so okay. See, I have to mute it. There you go. So it's
It
so
is super
delayed.
delayed.
Yeah, it's very delayed. So I'm like, I have it. It's up. We're on YouTube now. If anyone does pop in, if it's just me and you, girl, hey, what's up?
That's
We in
fine.
here together. But yeah, I'll be able to see the chat of like if anybody says anything or if anybody has any inquiries. So right now to them, it's just like us. We look side by side on YouTube right now. So
Awesome.
pretty good. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining my podcast. This is the Vault with Chayes. I see Hayes. Doesn't matter how you say it, as long as that flavor stays in your mouth. And I am here with the most loveliest Cheyenne. Everybody,
Hi.
woo! Thank you once again for you know, sliding in them DMs and
Of course. Thank you
want
for
to be a
having
part of the
me.
podcast. I'm so super happy about that. I was actually on live on TikTok and I was like, hey, does anybody want to be live with me? I mean, you can do it. Like we can put this together. Oh, hi, little Mike. How are you? Thank you for joining.
Hey.
And I was like, we can do this. And she's like, yeah. You were the first person who was emailed me. I think somebody else tried to email me, but it didn't go through right. So I was like, dang, I messed up on the email and everything. But we'll get them one. We'll get them one day. We'll get them one day. So Cheyenne, tell me about a little about yourself. I know we already spoke, but tell the people, anybody who's watching.
So, my name is Cheyenne. I'm 26. I'm a hairstylist. I live near Philadelphia, not quite in Philadelphia, but I live in the suburbs. And yeah, I'm into a little bit of everything: music, art, makeup, painting, drawing. If you guys hear me randomly making noises as far as like screaming or saying ouch, I have a cat who is very small and probably clawing at my hands.
Is he right in your lap now? You
Yep.
wanna give him a
Yep.
little? Oh, look
Say
at him!
hi.
See, kittens are cute. It's when they are adults.
No, you don't like being lifted. I'll put you down. Okay.
Oh my goodness, kittens are so adorable. Okay,
Yes.
so 26 years of age. We're millennials. We're living our best life. It
Yeah,
just
I'm in like that weird like not everybody's like you're not a millennial, but I'm definitely not Gen Z. I'm like the
you're
very
no,
tail.
you're
I'm
definitely
like
a
the
millennial.
very I'm like the very very tail end of millennials.
Yes, yeah, like you're definitely a millennial. I don't know why people tell you you're not a millennial. Like
94 baby.
yeah, people always think that millennials are Gen Z, which I find weird,
Yeah.
frankly very
No.
odd. Because in order to be Gen Z, you have to I don't even it still doesn't make any sense. Like I feel like because they're thinking after 2000, they're like that's millennials and I'm like that's not how that
That's
works.
not.
Like that's not
No.
like you literally just skipped
That's
a
Gen
whole
Z.
generation of people. Like you just like, "Oh, Gen X. That's it. That's all we got. We don't got nobody else. We just like
Yep.
and that's pretty much it."
Yeah.
Somebody snapping me? Huh. Okay, anyway. But I'm not even flip my phone over so I do not get distracted. Anyways, once again, thank you so much for joining the podcast. It
Of
really
course,
does
of
mean a lot.
course.
I don't know. I think it's just a lot of stuff is hitting me at the same time right now. Like just getting the 50,000, now 52 on TikTok.
Oh, like
And
congrats. That's awesome.
thank you. And like people are just like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. You're so fun. You're blah, 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 blah. And then like with the recent videos that are like going everywhere, like I swear every day I have like 10 people duetting the same video over and over again. And I just like watching their reactions to it because I don't know. It's like if you're like, a hairstyle, you do something and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, this is just regular to me. Like this is just something that I'm used to. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And the client goes, oh my God, you did it. And you're just like, I didn't do nothing more special than I usually do, but they're just
Yeah.
so infatuated with what you did. It's just like, what am I selling myself
when
short
they
here?
when
Like,
they do that, I usually think they're drunk, to be honest. Like
yeah, like it's
I've had a couple clients like I've cut their hair for like a year and a half. I never do
mm-hmm.
anything different. And the one time they're like, "Oh my God, this is the best haircut ever. I really love it. Oh my God, I don't know what you did. What did you do different?" And they're like in the mirror, they're like, "What did you do? Oh my God, it looks so
Exactly.
good." And I'm like, "Are you okay?"
No, it's the
did you
same thing. Like
did you
I will
smoke a
have
little
like friends or
something?
family, but like now I have total strangers saying like, oh, this is so funny. Like I can't even, this is just, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, Okay, I thank you. I don't. Thanks a lot for appreciating what I say. I
But
mean,
you're
like
like, that's just me.
that's just me. Like literally, people don't understand. Before TikTok, before Instagram, before Snapchat, before Vine, this is what I was just doing. Like the old school little silver karaoke things with the microphone. I was literally taking VHS tapes and like just not VHS but like recorder tapes and like putting them in and just like doing nothing, just beetle bopping on the microphone and listening back to myself over and over and over again for fun. Or like just when I first got like a first digital camera, oh my god, with like the 2 to 3 minute recordings, like the little small little Nikon ones. You couldn't tell me anything. I was a superstar. Like I was Amanda Bynes at one point in my head. Like I had a whole showcase. So for like people to see the stuff now, they're like, how do you come up with this stuff? How do you? And it's just like I've literally been doing this to the point that I'm just doing it for my own comedy relief. Like if other people find it funny, great, but
Right, that's just a bonus.
that's a bonus. Like I don't want to tell you, I probably have given myself more views by me than other people because I
good.
watched.
I thought I was the only one who did that.
Oh no, I like before like TikTok and all that. Like I'd be on Snapchat and I want to make a separate Snapchat for people to follow me on because literally the buffoonery that I do on Snapchat, like some of my friends like I can't watch your snaps, they're too long. You're out of control. And now they're like, wait, you have this many people on TikTok. That's so cool. And I'm like, you know what? I was doing the same minute videos from Snapchat on TikTok. And now because people recognize that I'm funny, now you want to love me. Now you want to show me appreciation.
I feel like TikTok is like Snapchat videos on steroids.
It definitely is. It's more like now I get to add like all kind of effects. I get to do all different kind of things and everything.
That's what made me really like fall in love with the platform. Is like, dude, it's like a mini like music video studio.
Yes.
You can add sound effects. You can like edit, you can crop.
The backdrops and change and all that. Yeah. Like it's so crazy to me. Like it's just how one app can like hold so much like I don't even know how to say it. Like so many gigabytes, there's so many things that you can just do to a video to make it so different.
It's going to revolutionize the future of social media.
Oh, definitely. It's crazy to me like how
you can already see that because like Instagram came out with their Reels competition.
Instagram makes me so mad. I don't know what it is, but like every time another application does something, Instagram tries to do it. So
they're owned by Facebook now, so that's why.
Yeah, but remember when it like okay, so we had Vine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instagram didn't have video. Then Vine came out with video. That's all its platform was for. Instagram then adopted like the 15-second video. And then they advanced it to a minute. Then Snapchat comes along. Now Instagram has all these filters. Like stories and filters and stuff like. And then there was something else that came along and then Instagram took upon to do that one. And then it started messing up its algorithm. So now you didn't see anything in a straight timeline. Everything was just so messed up.
Yeah.
And then you have like Facebook where you can see other people's stuff popping up. And then you have the explore page that Instagram developed. Yeah. And now you have TikTok and now it has Reels. And I'm like, I don't realize why you guys are doing Reels
because they want to try to stay on top of the market, of course.
But it's only 15 seconds. One. Like,
is it? I've literally never looked at.
It's only 15 seconds. It's only 15 seconds. I don't know what people think you could do in 15 seconds, but it's not a lot. Like it's only like those little like whoa, and then that's it. It's over. The video is over. Okay, and so you have the 15-second reels, and then it has like the most basic effects on it. So I'm like, I could just go to TikTok and just watch this stuff.
What I see more is people taking their TikToks
and putting it on
and
Instagram.
Cropping it and putting it on Instagram Reels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what I do. If I'm doing like quick little stupid transitions, I'll just like put it in the reel and then just post it because it's just boom, there, it's done. Like it's in 15 seconds.
Cross-platform, easy.
Yes, exactly. Just call it a day. All right. Well, we all love what happened this week where you find out and we talk about politics, we talk about pop culture and all things. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Kim. How are you? And all those things in between. So let's get into it. So I'm going to take it that you're not riding the Trump train.
No.
Okay. Just, out of respect,
My
we gotta
dad
ask
is.
questions.
You
We
know,
gotta
like
ask questions.
a little backstory. I was actually raised super conservative. Like I grew up,
Oh.
we watched Fox News, we watched Glenn Beck. I went to a Tea Party rally when I was 13 years old, like
Mhm.
in DC, and the keynote speakers were Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
I didn't
Alaska.
really, yeah, like I didn't really, yeah. I was like too young. I was like just starting to like barely grasp what politics is at 13. Like just
Mhm.
like ever so barely. So all I knew was it was this thing that I watched with my dad. My dad was
Mhm.
into it. We were going to go to DC and it was going to be a fun time. And I was like, "All
Yeah.
right, cool. Sounds like a fun time." Whatever. And now looking back, I'm like, what? Like, I don't even remember what they said. I remember like that was the day I started asking questions. I was like, these people have these signs that don't make
Yeah.
sense. What
Mhm.
is this nonsense? People are yelling at each other.
Yeah.
So I actually grew up with that. And then like come when I finally got out of my dad's household, moved out. Like before I
Mhm.
moved out, I was already very like, I don't want to participate in this anymore.
Mhm.
But then by the time I moved out in like 2012, 2013, I had swung the other way and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't for me.
Well, I'm happy you got out of the sunken place. I'm happy
Oh
that you
God, me
made it
too.
out.
Me too.
Because it's weird because so many people are raised in obviously different environments, different political parties and everything, and then they come out the total opposite of like what they were raised in, whether that be for the worst part of it or whether that be
Mhm.
better for them. Some people just learn early on, and like you learned early on, like, hey, this doesn't make any sense. Why are people being this way? Like, why can't people just live the way they
Yeah.
want to
I
live?
remember
Like,
like
what's going
the
on?
I remember the next day on the news, like the local news,
Hmm.
the local news and on like CNN, they were like, just a bunch of old white racists and they littered everywhere. And there was a shit ton of litter
Yeah.
left behind. And I was like, oh, like, I don't like that.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to be a part of somebody who just leaves a ton of garbage behind.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not white and I'm not
Yep.
old and I'm not racist. So why am I participating in a group that has these labels associated with it?
Yeah. I agree with that. Like, it's like I had just put up a video. Not sure if you've seen it, but I did just put up a video maybe like a week ago where like the real reason why I blew up on TikTok is because I put out like basically like a Black Lives Matter video like at the when George Floyd was
Mm-hmm.
killed, and I put it out and then like a million views and all that. Like, I've never been called the N-word so
So
many
many
times, and like
times.
so many times in my life with derogatory tense behind it. And like my platform became like a politician platform, and I didn't want that at all. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not a politician, I don't practice, and I don't know, like, you asked me the three branches, I'm on that. Eighth grade
Right.
saved me with that one. But when it comes to going in depth of things, I just come off of from not even a biased point, but just like a natural human being. Like, if you
Yeah.
live and you breathe, then you shall live and you shall breathe however you see fit. Now, whatever you do with that, it causes your own consequences. But after that, but I don't care what you do. Like, it
Right.
doesn't bother me, and I had made a video, and like, I know people are so upset, like, with the whole, like when the kneeling thing was happening with the national anthem and everything. And my question was just like, I've seen so many people, even like people who I not really considered friends, but just like I knew close to,
Mm-hmm.
speaking out about it on Facebook and everything. And then when like the whole Black Lives Matter thing started, I didn't hear them speaking that much anymore. So I said,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So when it's something benefiting or inflicting you personally, it's a problem. But then when you
Inflicting and
see,
okay, like inflicting you personally, they're just kneeling.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
It's not like they're
exactly,
spitting in your face. They're just kneeling
exactly.
peacefully.
And it just kind of like, it just baffles me to see some of the people who have
And like
honestly some of their closest friends and relatives be Black,
mhm.
and they're just like now complete silence. But it just cracked me up, honestly, to hear kneeling, you're disrespecting the people who fought for this country. My grandfather, my grandpa, my
Oh my
father,
God.
we fought for the country. And I really thought about it. And I was like, has no one asked this question? So I put it on TikTok and I said, I really don't want this to go down the wrong rabbit hole. But I have a very serious question. When you guys say my father, my grandfather, my mother, whoever fought for this country and is disrespectful to them, did you think that the military and army magically turn all white? Like no
Right.
one of color has ever
Yeah.
fought
Well,
in any war or anything.
there's also like a lot of people who are like, they should be standing, like they get so up in
Mm-hmm.
arms about it, but a lot of these people don't know that a coming out and like standing on the field for the national anthem for the NFL wasn't made mandatory until I think it was like
Yeah.
2001. I think
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until after September 11th happened that it was mandatory. Up until
Yeah.
that point, they stayed in the locker rooms. They weren't even
Yeah,
on the
because
field.
then they ran out
Yeah.
afterwards.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
And then on top of that, before he started kneeling, Colin Kaepernick was actually sitting. And then
Yes.
it was actually a gentleman who was in the Navy who came to him and
Mm-hmm.
said, hey, I feel like it would be more honorable if you kneeled because that's what we do for our fallen soldiers. We kneel
Mm-hmm.
for them. And then he literally took the advice of somebody in the military and the world
Mm-hmm.
blew up.
Yeah. And people were just like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And I'm just like, both of my grandfathers served. I have a brother-in-law who served. Like,
Yeah, both of my grandfathers served too.
yeah. And it's like you go back in history, like Black people, men have served this country because they're like, we can't say women yet because at that time there was no women serving, but like Black men have fought for this country for so long, for a country that's never served them as a priority or purposely. And yet you're so up in arms about someone kneeling during a national anthem that if you didn't listen to the iTunes version, the iTunes preview of the song, and you continue playing the song, you will understand why Black people might not be very happy about standing up for a flag. Like, but no, you want to listen to the 60-second, for free iTunes version of the national anthem instead of playing the full length. So, a lot of people in those comments were like, that's what I want to know. And one person, like, they all were agreeing what I was saying, but one person particularly kind of stood out to me because they're like, I'm white and I've said this sentence, but I've never honestly thought about it like that. And that's a really good question. And like, that's all I want. Like, that's all I want. That's all I need to hear. Like, I don't want to hear that your whole life has changed.
Thought.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that your whole life has changed. You're different now. Now you're a Democrat or whatever the case may be. I want you to be able to have some sort of open mindset that you're not so closed-minded to an objection. Like, you're actually saying, you know what? I can understand where you're coming from. I might not believe it, but I can understand where you're coming from. And that's all people want. Like, especially in this day of time, we just want someone to leave a door open in their brain
for conversation.
Just for a conversation to happen. No one's asking you to change your religion, who you are as a person. I don't want you to go out and make the wrong friends now. I just want you to be able to, speak with another person.
And the thing is, like, I think with politics, like, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with social media, but like, it's the further we get into social media, like the more like combined the two get now with all the personalized algorithms. Like, if I only read Republican things, it's only going to show me Republican things. If I only read and watch Democratic things, it's only going to show me Democratic things. So it kind of produces like this echo chamber effect where unintentionally you're only seeing things that kind of confirm your own bias.
Yes.
And it can be dangerous on either side. Like, that's how we have websites like Snopes now. Like, we have to have a fact checking website.
Yes, no, definitely, and it cannot be Wikipedia. It cannot be Wikipedia. So going into talking about that, so what happened this week? We had Lil Wayne, as we all know, Wayne Carter, one of the greatest living rappers that we know of as of now. He actually met up with Donald Trump. And speaking about the Platinum Plan, I don't know if you know what the Platinum Plan is or consists of.
Is this the same thing that Ice Cube met with him about?
Yes.
Okay, so I've heard that it's basically Donald Trump's plan for Black people is basically how I've heard it described, but I don't know what or if it entails any details.
Okay, so the platinum plan is trying to give more community ownership, like within Black communities, it basically it states that it's going to prosecute the KKK and I believe the Anifest. I can't remember the name, but they're prosecuting the KKK as a terrorist group. The problem I have with that first line is that should have been done. Like that should have been taken care of a long time ago, because
the community part or the KKK part?
The KKK part. Like
Okay.
that should have been done a long time ago. And I'm not saying like Obama should have did it, Bush should have did it, Clinton it should have been done as soon as it was developed, first of all.
Yeah.
But especially when we came more into the modernized days that we've been for these past like 8 to 10 years, that should have been automatically put as a domestic terrorist group, because I don't care what you're saying. You want to sit here and you want to talk about, Middle Eastern terrorist groups, or I don't want to say certain things just in case, YouTube gets a little, but like, you have all these other groups that you are saying dangerous and they do this and they do that, but yet you don't take it upon yourself to take care of home base stuff that's happening here. And when there's one particular group antagonizing, brutalizing, and making sure that they are preaching the wipeout of anything but their kind, how are you not going into the position already saying this is a group? This is a terrorist group within itself.
Yeah. And a lot of people will be like, well, it's not like the KKK is so small now. It's like there's only, X amount of members throughout the country. It's like, all right, that might be valid, whatever. I don't keep up to date with
I don't count the numbers.
The KKK. But like you look at Germany, and like after World War II, immediately they were like, Nazis are bad. No more Nazis. We're not doing it. And now, like, even if you throw a Nazi salute in Germany, you get jail time. Like they don't fuck around with Nazis.
Yeah.
Like it's like no holds barred, like zero tolerance policy.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for, I don't know, like, what is that? 70 years, 80 years now.
Yep.
So it just doesn't make sense. Like it just doesn't make sense. So like a country across the world can, have these laws in place against domestic terrorist groups for 80 years. But in the United States, we're like, well, there's not that many of them, so it's not a problem.
Yeah,
like,
and
there's not that many Nazis. There's not that many Nazis over there now either, but they still exist. But the thing is, because there's laws against them, they can't come out and like protest or do public demonstrations.
Yeah.
Like,
and I won't say that they've been dormant this whole entire time. I will say that they haven't been as loud, but obviously since Trump has came into office, they have now been screaming it from the top of their lungs. They've been making sure that they know they're there, and with not this not the last presidential debate, but like the most previous one, where he's like, Proud Boys, and we all know Proud Boys is a alternate version of like basically a white power, terrorist group within itself. And so it's just one of those things where it doesn't matter. And he always says like, I didn't say that. I didn't tell them to, like, even when he was running, I didn't tell them to punch people. I didn't tell them to push these people down the stairs during my rallies, but you didn't tell them not to. And that's the problem. Like there was no advocacy for there to not be any violence. Like, you're saying by any means necessary, you're making fun of people who are
and the thing is,
physically or mentally challenged.
People be like, well, he condemned them back in 2000. Well, he condemned them back in 1988. It's like, yeah, he did, but he wasn't the president. Like, it's different. He's the president now. Like,
yes, of the free world.
Free world. Yeah.
World. So it's one of those things. Yeah. And then the other one was making Juneteenth. If you guys know, Juneteenth 1865. That's when slavery was abolished and
last
police
slaves in Texas,
in Texas, and that's when police actually started. That's the only reason why there is a police reform is because when slavery ended, they're like, well, we can't just have free blacks running around here. They're going to make a muckus of everything, and that's why we have cops today.
And the prison industrial complex,
exactly, and making Juneteenth a federal holiday. And it's also in parts of giving $500 million to obviously separating to Black communities. Now, what Ice Cube was proposing it's something along with the platinum plan, but it's like his own development plan. It's not the Donald Trump's is the platinum plan, and Ice Cube's is something else. I can't remember the name of it. But the reason why he was even speaking with the Republican Party is because Ice Cube's not, I'm with the Republicans, I'm with the Democrats. I'm with Black people. I'm for Black people. I want empowerment of Black people. So I said, whoever is going to give me the ear, whoever's going to give me the sit down, the conversation to put in power of that to come to, that's who I'm going to speak to. And he said the Republican Party, of course, it was like, we would love to sit down with you. Let's talk. Let's, chat about this. Let's chat about that. And the Democratic Party was like, well, let's just wait till after the election. Okay. And that's what, people were saying. That's what people were saying, like, oh, Ice Cube's a sellout because he's going to the Republican Party. And it's just like, he's not selling
he's
out.
Going to whoever's
he's going
to
whoever has power to make what he wants to happen, and now there's claims that Kamala Harris actually did reach out to sit down and talk with Ice Cube, but then he turned down the sit down with her. So I don't know. There's a lot of legend. There's a lot of things going back and forth. And now you have Lil Wayne, who's also saying something to the Trump administration. And I think at this point, I don't know if it's, well, we see he might win again, so we might as well just, do that. Or if it's really like, who is in power right now, who can make last minute decisions to push something out, But I always say, just because somebody is saying, yeah, we'll do that, doesn't mean they're going to be able to accomplishment. Like, for example, Obama, when he was in, and a lot of people say Obama did nothing for this country. But I say this, he put out a lot of promises, we are the change was his campaign. But I say this, you are only allowed to do so many things if you get permission to do them. And
and when he has an entire Republican Congress, an entire Republican Senate and House, shoot down everything he throws their way.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people forget how the government works. I think a lot of people forget how the government works. Like the president just doesn't go, okay, guys, we're done.
He doesn't make the laws. He just he doesn't make the laws. He just signs them.
He just signs them, and he has
the power to veto them if he wants to.
If he wants to, yes, and they have to go to the House of Representatives. They have to go through Congress, and if they veto, then they have to go back to the president. The president sends it back. Then they veto again. Like he doesn't get the final say all the time when it comes to certain bills and certain statutes. No,
you can't climb up there, kitty.
A certain statute. So I feel like if the day one of Trump being in office, he was signing everything, and everything was being here. We're putting this into motion. We're putting that into motion. Because everybody was just so happy that they finally got to have the power.
I feel like
in the White House.
So him as a person, though, like as a person, he's very like, he doesn't have a filter. He doesn't think before he talks. He doesn't really think before he acts.
Yeah.
Like I heard something the other day that he tried, I don't even remember where I heard this. He tried to invite a waiter into a classified top level security room because he wanted a lemonade. Like he was like, oh, can you bring that waiter in here? I want a lemonade. And they're like, no, you can't do that. He just,
I don't know.
He just I just really don't think he thinks before he says things, or before he just decides he's going to do these things.
Yeah.
And then he needs these people to be like, all right, you could say that you're going to do all these things, and but you can't do all these things.
Definitely. And I don't know. I just
the Mexico's going to pay for the wall. That's not going to happen.
No. And I hope that people in a few days, November 3rd is coming up very quickly. I've already voted. I sent my mail in because I did the early ballot. So I ain't going to be in nobody's face. So I sent my early ballot in. I hope that people who do majority of the complaining, who talk about this, who want to get into political arguments, do their U.S. citizen justice right to vote and use their voice and get out there and really sit. If you have to stand in line, if you're doing early voting, if you don't want to be around people, go do it now. You have the choice to do it. I know I had gotten in the mail a good couple of months ago to hey, do you want to send your ballot in through the mail? I said, yes, I don't want to stand in line and just sit there and have the pressure of standing in a thing and trying to, answer. And it also gave me time to read up on the questions that are a part of the ballot and everything. You know, there's 2 questions, especially here in Massachusetts, that you have to answer. I don't know if I think every state has like their 2 questions that you have to answer, you know, and try to give your opinion on. So, you know, it's not just about the president. You know, you have people in Congress, you have House of Senate. These are all different people that you have to vote for, and you also have to pay attention to the questions. You know, make sure you're reading everything thoroughly.
I think this year Connecticut's voting on the legalization of marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big one.
It's all these questions that you have to ask, have to answer. You have to make sure you're reading up on this information. You know, you're not just going in there and saying, I choose Biden and Harris, or I choose Pence and Trump. You are going in there to pick a whole bunch of people and legalize or deny some important questions. So please get out there and vote before or on November 3rd. And we will be waiting for those results. And hopefully we get the answer that we are praying for, because I cannot take another 4 years of that. Okay, so next on what happened this week. Gucci, as we all know, Gucci apparel, you know, Gucci clothes and Gucci this, Gucci that. I'm choking. Okay. Is selling tights, pantyhose for my older demographics. They're selling tights for $190 with runs in them. If you guys don't know what runs are, it's just basically when your tights, when the tights get stretched too much and they have that split that comes up into them. So yes, they are selling quote unquote distressed tights for $190. This is Gucci. Now,
Jeffree Star is going to be the first one in line.
Oh, definitely. Now, if you guys do remember, a couple of years ago, Gucci was underneath some heat because of the type of clothes that we were making. I think they came out with some type of mask or sweater or something like that had like the big red lips, black clothing, you know, kind of giving like a stereotypical
menstrual or not menstrual, minstrel.
Giving just very objective looks upon the Black community. And that's when everybody was like, cancel Gucci, cancel Gucci. We don't need Gucci, you know. And of course, you know, it only lasted for so long because people need material to say that they have something. Now, I don't have a problem with people taking a very simple idea and making money off of it. If you thought about making money off of it and merchandising it, hey, do what you need to do. But I can go into Walmart and get me some pantyhose and put my leg in it, and I automatically get a run because Walmart pantyhose is cheap. So therefore, boom, that's how I get it. So I don't get what distressed.
Now, is there anything like special about these pantyhose? Do they have like Gucci logos on them?
It's distressed pants. It's distressed. They probably do have like Gucci logoed pantyhose, but it's distressed, aka it's ripped, aka it looks like you did the long walk at home. You know,
I just don't get it.
I never understood when people rip their pantyhose. I never understood when people rip their tights. Like I understand, like it's like more of like the grunge or emo look or something.
But I feel like that's a very specific look.
Yes, like something like you have
I feel
to
like
want to do.
It's something you have to want to do, and if you don't wear it with the right clothes, it's not gonna look intentional. It's gonna look like you got into a fight. Yeah, it looks like you got into a fight, and you just like you wouldn't wear distressed tights with like a business suit.
No, like of course not. Like I feel like only time you're supposed to be wearing distressed tights are when you have combat boots as thicker than baby spices, and you have a leather short flared out mini skirt, and you have on
or something,
a Hot Topic belt with the star with the silver squares around them, and you have a shirt that's kind of a little ripped and tattered. You have a leather jacket on, and for whatever reason you're wearing a head
crazy color.
Your hair's a crazy color, like it's like the undertone is blue or purple or red, and the top is black. Yeah. You got bangs.
It evokes like a very specific like 2006 emo grunge look.
Yes, it brings me Avril Lavigne. Like if you're not Avril Lavigne, don't do it. Like if you're not following, you know, that, please don't do the distressed.
Just in general though, I don't really get like that's kind of like Supreme level like dumb shit for me. Like Supreme's like, here's a brick with Supreme on it, buy it for $300. Like, why? But why?
But no, that's the thing that I definitely don't understand.
I've actually tried to have a conversation with somebody who like he had like a Supreme like axe, and like a Supreme like blow up blimp that like hung from the ceiling. It wasn't big. It was probably like, I don't know, probably like a foot long or something. But I was like, what's the appeal? Like, I just don't get it. He's like,
I've seen so many people with
he's like
that.
they're so hard to get.
Yeah, the Supreme,
right? But
whatever that
why
thing
do
is called.
you need it? Like,
yes.
Why does it matter?
And we will get into that in a little bit. You're jumping against the grain. So let's move on, because that's literally a topic for later on. Okay. So do you know, well, I have to do that. What's on next on what happened this week? Are you into YouTubers? Like, are you into like focusing or following any specific YouTubers?
Yeah. So, I used to be big into like makeup channels, but that was Jesus. That
until the drama
really
started.
Messy. Yes. Really fast. I was there for Dramageddon 1, 2, and 3. And I was like, I'm out. Like, I can't do this anymore. But so I mainly stick to like criminal minds type TikTok, like horror cases, murder mysteries.
Do you watch the murder clean? Do you follow the murder cleanup people on TikTok? I forgot what their name.
No.
Oh, I have to. Okay, when we get off of here, I have to look them up, because they're on YouTube too. They're on YouTube. They do like full
crime scene cleanup.
Crime scene cleanups.
Yeah, that's
and it's just like
that.
I like watch them and I'm like, oh my god.
I watch like there's a channel I watch on YouTube called Ask a Mortician, and she's a mortician, so she talks about stuff like transgender rights after you're after you're dead, and like like what happens if you die with your eyes open and our body's still down at the Titanic wreckage, and I don't know, like all over the place. But I'm like vaguely in
okay, because like you said, with the whole YouTube thing, like I started getting into like the Jeffree Stars and stuff like that, and then like when the first case of his stuff came up, I was like, I'm done with Jeffree. And then I got into like the James Charles, and I was like, I like James. Like he's young. I'm not gonna, do anything. Like, he's young. He's out here. Yeah, he carries his own little drama in his own little bit. But I'm like, he was 17, 18 when he started. I don't think that's not gonna exist. But that's just me. And then I love Nikki Tutorials. Love her to death. And I love Nikki. She's so
like
good.
The only one I watch.
Yeah, she's her. And what really actually got me into makeup on YouTube was I don't know her real name. But her channel is Made You Look. That is
Lexi.
Lexi, yes.
Yeah, she made you look by Lex.
Yeah, yes, she made me get into like not makeup looks, but like how people can design their face, how the artistry on her body and stuff. And I'm just so proud of like where she started off just painting and doing like funny little things, and now she's like home brush sets and paints and everything. Like, and
what's so crazy is like I've watched so many of her videos just for like references for like shading and like stuff like this. And I'll do like I don't even remember what the look was, but one year, I remember now, I did like slime like dripping like from the corner of my face and like spots on my face, and I just did like the ittiest bit of shading, and people were like, oh my god, that's not airbrush.
Yeah, it looks so real, like
so good. I think in my head I'm just thinking about Lexi, and I'm like, you think this looks good? Get out.
Like I think 2 years ago when I did Halloween, I did half my face like a regular, nice, posh, like, face of makeup. And then the other half, I did a pop art. And I watched her video on pop art, and I was just like, and it came out so good. I was like, oh, this looks so nice. Because I didn't know what else to do for Halloween. I didn't have a plan. I was like, I'm just going to do half face pop art. Like, who cares? Like, nobody's going to question what's going on in my face. They're just going to be like, oh, just old comics or whatever. But okay, so I don't know if you're do you know who Queen Naija is?
No.
She's okay. So she started off on YouTube. She's a YouTuber. And now she is a recording artist. She's in R&B and everything like that.
I'm gonna look her up real fast.
Look her up. You'll probably recognize, like, she came out with that song Medicine.
I'm better with faces than I am with names.
Yeah. She came out with Medicine about 2 years ago, and everybody was like losing their brain over it and all the other stuff. So this is
I vaguely know her.
Yeah. But this is more like you don't even have to know who these people are, but just to hear the foolishness of it all is like out of control. So her ex-husband, her baby's father or whatever. His name is
Okay.
Chris Sales. And he's known as Chris Cough Drop Sales because he sounds like he needs a cough drop. He like talks like this, like it sounds like he needs a cough drop. And the basis of this foolishness of what's going on between them, she has moved on. She has a new man in her life. She has a boyfriend, and they had a son together. So like they're like having like a great time and everything.
Awesome.
And she was in a relationship with her ex for like 4 or 5 years, whatever. And it has been assumed, but also being very led on that he was abusive towards her, because reports that came out later on with other people that he's dated that he was abusive towards them and everything. So it's just like a lot of stuff going on. He basically recently has always been trolling Queen and her new boyfriend Clarence, who also is a YouTuber, and he's basically been trolling them, like, you know, saying like, oh well, Clarence doesn't have anything on me, like they can be happy all they want, just don't say nothing about my son, and you know, all these things. And mind you, like, Chris has done some things in his day. Well, of recent, there has been a blog coming out that's called The Queen of Lies, and basically was tearing down Clarence. Clarence once had a girl having an abortion, which was a lie. Once saying that he's using Queen for her money, which is a lie, because he had his own little thing before he even got with her, and it was just like a whole bunch of stuff. So of course
don't get people like that.
Like people just coming out with lies and stuff. So of course he responds to it. He's like, "This is all a lie." And then his ex comes out. She goes, "Well, little do you know, basically Queen and Clarence were cheating on each other's partners while getting together while they were with us."
So wait, so they were still with other people when they started talking?
So that's what they were saying. They're like, "Oh, well, they were still together," which is technically true and technically a lie.
It's 2020.
It's 2020. Clarence was single, but Queen was legally still married, even though but they were in the process of divorce, you know, at this point in time. And I don't know. To summarize everything, I guess to put it together, I would just say, how do you feel about people who cannot let go of their ex, like who basically trolls their ex's relationship?
Obviously, like, to me, that reads of jealousy and or like insecurity. Like, I just, like, if you were so happy to not be in that relationship anymore, why are you investing so much of your time and energy into this? You wrote a whole fucking blog post about this. You literally sat down, you're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna name it the Queen of Lies, and I'm gonna make a whole blog about how much she lies and how much of an asshole her boyfriend is, and this is gonna get me so much clout. Like, why, dude? Like, the way I really judge actions of people as far as that goes is like, how much of your energy are you expending into this? Like, that's not like that's not like a little like short like call out video on TikTok or Snapchat. That takes like, I don't know how many
time. It's investment time. And he also
a lot of time that
he also makes a lot of reactive videos. Like he'll do like, Chris reacts to Queen taking my son out with her new boyfriend. Chris reacts to Clarence talking about me as a father. Chris reacts to it's like your only fallible reason that you're still getting income of money to your YouTube channel. And when they broke up, he didn't give her any of the money that they had accumulated together on a YouTube channel when they had like 2 million followers at the time. So he didn't give her any money that they were profiting off of the YouTube channel, like not a dime. So like, all you're doing is still making profits off of someone's name that no longer deals with you unless it's saying, I'm flying my child to see you, you're flying your child to see me. And then that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's baffling to me. I feel like YouTube is really just become like a drama club within itself. It's like no longer I'm like watching YouTube and I'm like, oh, I get to watch like Superwoman, or I get to watch what's her name, Liza, and I get to watch all these different people just like, you know, go around, have fun, make money, be young, and be their own entrepreneurs. It's like everyone has drama like pushed somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like there are like some niche communities that like don't do drama. Like, I'm really into like, do you know the video game The Sims?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm like really into like Sims YouTube and like watching Simmers and like watching people build houses and stuff. And that is like, I love it because it's like, it's very like cathartic. It's very like low pressure. They just
Yeah.
build houses in a fun game. There's no like shooting, screaming, horror games, scary
Yeah.
things jumping out at you.
I watch I don't know what his name is, but he puts his Sims through hell. Like he
Oh,
tortures his
Gray
Sims.
plays. Gray still plays.
Yeah, like yeah,
Florida,
and
Florida man and Australia man.
Yes, Australia, Florida man, and I literally watch that and I do nothing but crack up laughing. Like his edits and everything make me happy.
I love Sims YouTube because it's just like that. It's very drama free. It's just people just enjoying a game that they love, and like that's the type of YouTube that I'm here for.
Yeah.
I like don't really get involved in like that's like the only like whole community that I watch. Like
I'm starting to get Among Us YouTube. That I am literally crying at the edits that they're doing in Among Us. Like I'm even on TikTok. I'm like, how are y'all doing this? And now they have like first player Among Us where you're actually the person like playing, and like they have it in 3D virtual, like you're going through.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and I'm just like
VR Among Us.
I'm like, I need to get on this, like, because it's so much scarier. Like I'm watching, like you're watching the gameplay of like, oh, when the lights go out. But when I'm like watching from the first person's view when the lights go out, I'm like, holy crap! Like, I don't think I would be able to handle any of this. Like, and how do you murder someone? Like,
have you ever played VR?
I have the VR thing. I've done VR games. The only thing that has made me feel a little weird is the scary game that I downloaded. Like it was like a clown, and like the clown was moving everywhere, and the next thing you know, it's popping up on you, and I was just like, "Whoa, we can't do this," because I'm about to fight somebody in my room. I'm about to beat up an imaginary person. Other than that, I haven't done a lot of VR. I got the thing like 3 years ago, and I haven't even touched it in like 6 months.
I've played it like maybe like 2 times now. A friend of mine has like a pretty impressive setup. He has like all the add-ons you could think of for it. And I've played a couple games on his set, but it's very disorienting. Like there were a couple times where I like almost punched a brick wall because I didn't realize like how close
where you're
I was.
Going. Yeah.
And he was like, he'd be like, whoa. He's like, you're gonna break your hand. Like the video that I can think of the best is like the grandpa playing like the zombie shooting game, and he's like screaming, and he starts swinging, and he's like turning, and he literally almost like swings on his grandson. I've
seen one where a dude has ran into the TV, like he's just like, oh, like like he's just like running from something. I like the roller coaster ones. I think that's cool because I hate roller coasters. I'm very petrified of heights, and so like, and for me to have a VR experience of it, my heart still goes like this, but I have to trick my mind. You're sitting on the ground. You're sitting on the ground. You're sitting, like nothing's happening to you.
Yeah, that's the funny part about it. See, like I'm weird. Like I'm also like scared of heights, but it's like for me, it's only slow heights. So like Ferris wheels, nah, can't do it.
Okay.
Space needle type stuff, no, can't do it. Even like I went rock climbing last week with my boyfriend, and even rock climbing, like as I'm getting up the wall, I was like, oh god. Oh, this is kind of high.
Yeah,
I know strapped in. I know I'm strapped in, and I know I'm not going to go anywhere. But it still like makes my palms sweat. My heart races a little bit.
I can't do any form of height. Yeah,
roller coasters because it's like fast and you have the adrenaline rush. I love roller coasters.
Yeah, I can't do it. Like the only thing height defying that I can do is planes. Like planes, I'm like whatever. I don't care. I was on planes before I was even born. Like it's whatever. Like it's in my blood to fly. But I don't know, like those high buildings where you can walk over the glass so you can see down below, I would have a heart attack. There's like a ride. I don't know if it's in like rides or Six Flags or Candy Lakes. I don't know. But there was like a thing here, because obviously Massachusetts, it's like called the Boston Lager or something. And like it goes up so slow. And it's not even a high drop point. It's really not. But I'm straight puss on like height. So I'm gonna be scared about it. And then it gets to it, and then it just goes down, and then like water is flashing. My heart the whole time is like this those. And then when I get to the top and we go down, my heart I flatline. I completely just die. Then water's flashing my face. I'm drowning because my mouth was open. It's just a whole thing. And then like when I come down, I'm like, like I'm finally breathing. I'm like, I don't know why I put myself through this.
Yeah, why do you do it? See, I love roller coasters, but those drop towers freak me out all like every single time. And like every time I get on them, I'm like, why the fuck did I do this? Why the fuck did I do this? Why did I do this?
Hi, Carson. Thank you for joining us. Oh, she's really pretty. Well, thank you, Carson. Look at told you, Cheyenne. Told you, girl, you cute. All right, so let's go on to because I know I have been gabbering mouthing. We're having a great conversation, and that's all that matters. That's all it is.
Exactly.
So I seen on the Red Table Talk. Now they pointed this towards Black mothers, Black fathers, and everything, but I just feel like this is like a mom thing that they do in general. What do you mean? Don't touch stuff. What do you mean? Don't touch stuff. Okay, there you go. All right. My computer like randomly just touched something. I was like, don't touch nothing. Just let it be. Don't touch nothing. So it says that moms, so like I don't know if you're familiar with the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith and her daughter Willow and her mom.
Yep.
I forgot what who they had on, but Willow basically said that I feel like mothers are a whole lot harder on their daughters than they are their sons. Now I don't know if you have any brothers or close male cousin siblings or anything like that that you could kind of base off, but they say that moms are a lot harder on girls than they are brothers. And I have two of them and I have an older sister, so you know, it evens out over here. And you know, she gave an example of like, you know, like let's say we were going to school. You know, it's just like she comes in my room like, you need to get up now, you need to get dressed, you need to get this, you need that. And she goes, and then but yet she goes into Jaden's room and she's like, honey, it's time to wake up. Are you getting yourself together? And he's like, yeah, mom. And she's like, you know, I'm alert, I'm ready to go to school. And he's just like, okay, mom, I'm putting my stuff on, you know. And I can attest to this, that is 100% true. Like, you know, if somebody tries to tell you, no, that's not true, it's 100% true. That's why, like, you know, statistically, females are out of the house faster than males are, because for whatever reason,
I mean, there is like a stereotype of men in their 30s living in their parents'
they're at home with their mom. I
mean, when was the last time you heard like, oh, she's living in her parents' basement?
Yes.
35. Like,
yes.
She might live with her parents, but it's not a stereotype that she like lives in her basement and doesn't talk to
unless
people.
It's after a breakup or a divorce and she needs to get her life together to then move back out again. And then even then,
back in with my mom after a breakup.
Yeah, and even then, it's still, honey, you need to get it together. You like what kind of job are you gonna get it? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Like they're very harsh on you, and I don't know if it's like, because obviously we don't know what it was like to grow up in the 50s and the 60s. We don't know what it was to grow up in the 20s and the 40s. Like, you know, we don't know every generation, but it just seems like it's a repetitive thing that happens, that the females get like, it gets put on them harder. Because like, you know, if I'm going off of how movies, you know, portray how the 20s, the 40s, the 50s, the 30s, whatever was, it just made it seem like the women had to be tip-top shape, and then like the mother was just putting on the female, you have to make sure your hair's right. Are you doing this? Are you doing this correctly? You know, like, you know, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't be polite to him. You know, you have to get married. When are you having children? Like, you know, and even when it comes to like having a marriage and bearing children, it's just like, well, why can't you have kids? Well, why? And then, well, why aren't you bearing children? Or, well, why aren't you married? You're 25. Why you should be married? Like, you know, like different things that I'm saying.
Like I'm sitting here and I'm like, as I'm talking to you, I'm really trying to like form my thoughts around this in my head, because like I'm like in this weird spot where like I was raised by a single father, but I do have 4 siblings, but they're all half siblings. So we were all raised in different families. And I actually found my half siblings when I was like 17. So I've since met them and like we have relationships, but it's more like good friends. Talk every once in a while. We're not like super close. So it's like I was raised as an only child by a single father, so it's like my mom wasn't around that much when I was a kid, so I can't really like relate to my mom being hard on me. But I think like just from like, I guess you could say like an outside point of view, I think part of it might be like just like leftovers from like 1950s housewife patriarchal mindsets, like because the whole, well, you have to be prim, you have to be proper, you have to go to etiquette school, was all kind of based around the fact that like the woman was made for the man. So I think it's like, I don't even think people realize they do it. I think it's just something, I think it's just one of those things where we've just kept doing it, and now people are talking about it and they're like, wait, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
it's almost
Why
like,
do I do that?
yeah, it's like almost like you kind of like recognize, because I even did it with my mom one time. She's like, she came home, she was like, why wasn't the, like, because we have a carpet when you enter the front door or whatever, like, put shoes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's gonna have to get vacuumed, it's gonna have to get swept, whatever. And you have me, who I am a crab. I'm a Cancer, so I stay in my own shell. Like, I just stay in my room. Like, I'm all the
Yeah.
way towards the end of the hallway, towards the back of the house. Like, I'm just in my room. Like, if I'm not hungry, I don't make an entrance into the main part of the house. Like, I'm like my room, bathroom, back. Like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And like, me and my brother could have been home all day, and I'm just in my room. I'm chilling. I haven't done anything. I haven't used anything in the kitchen. The kitchen's already clean. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm already, and my brother could have been doppy doo da day and all through the house, like, all
Mm-hmm.
day. And I don't know
Made
anything
5
about it.
meals, whatever.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did all this stuff. Probably went in and out like 4 or 5 times, and coming in the house, the first thing she's like, excuse her name, Candace. And I'm like, yes. And she's like, why didn't you sweep the front carpet? Now, mind you, my brother's right there down the stairs. And she's like, why didn't you sweep the front carpet? I'm like, I haven't literally left my room like all day. And she's like, so you haven't done nothing in the house? And I'm like, no, because the kitchen was already clean. Like, and she goes, what do you mean? And then she goes in the kitchen. It's like, there's certain bowls in the sink. And she's like, why didn't you wash the dishes? Or why didn't you wipe down the counters? And I'm like, once again, I haven't even left my room. Like, what do you mean? Mind you, Michael's just chilling downstairs, who's been upstairs, who's been here, who's seen the carpet that was dirty, It's almost giving an automatic job that the female has to make sure the house is in order because,
and I think that
whatever
kind of
reason.
relates back to like the stereotypes. Like, well, guys are, men just like, they're less organized, like they're messy, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, what's funny is like, because I was raised by a single father, I'm the messy one.
Yeah.
So like in my relationships, my boyfriend's always the neater one. And he's always like, he doesn't clean up after me, but he's like, definitely like, all right, like you gotta like,
yeah,
a little bit. Come on, like,
yeah. Do something. Let's see. Carson says, I have an older brother and that doesn't leave his room, and I have to do everything. I have to do dishes and clean. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where sometimes one sibling may get the more favoritism. If not favoritism, they get more of the jobs and duties and different things like that.
The younger siblings are more designated to like get those too. Like, I feel like,
which I'm the baby, so that, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I remember learning about that, like in parenting class in high school, we learned about like birth order and how like birth order really does determine like, not your personality, but your parents definitely like will unintentionally treat you different based on who you are. Is Willow the younger one?
Willow, she's the baby. Yeah.
Okay. So there you have it.
Yeah.
But I think too, like, I feel like Jada was probably just raised that way, where she was made to like be the clean one, always had to be up at a certain time, always had to be put together. So I think it's just kind of like a generation after generation thing.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, I didn't even think about it. This was just how we did it.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of that is you have to unfortunately bear the trials and tribulations that your parents went through for you growing up. And, then you hear, you're so spoiled. I do all this for you. You're so this, you're so ungrateful, blah, blah, blah. You're so this. And it's just like, I can't be nothing but the person you raised me to be.
Yeah.
So if you're saying,
I really hate it when parents say like, you're so spoiled, I let you live in this house for free. You're my parents.
Yeah.
Like until
like thanks for birthing me. Thanks for the help and development.
Until I'm 18, maybe even past that, because like in today's economy, I can't even really say that 18 should make a legal adult. I would say like 21.
Yeah.
Like, until you're at a point where financially you can take care of yourself, you have a job, and like you're going after a job, being proactive, until like it's to a point where now you're just like not intentionally not contributing, like you're intentionally not getting a job, not that you're like searching for one in the middle of a recession or something.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't feel like there's weight behind well, I let you live here for free, I feed you, blah blah blah. Yeah, like, yeah, you didn't know that when you had a kid? Like you didn't expect that?
You didn't know I was going to be here for a while?
You're 18 and you just figured out that I've been here for 18 years? Like, I just don't get that. I just don't.
Carson says, I asked everyone this question, but where did you get your names from? Huh. So are you asking how did I get my name and then how did she get her name? Like what was the well, I'll answer it like that any which way. So
Sounds good.
my name obviously is Candace. I was named after the actress Candace Bergen, who I don't know what TV show she used to be on, but it's a long time ago. My mom fell in like she loved her as an actress on the TV show, and she was like, "I love her name. Candace is such a pretty name." And she's like, "I'm going to have a child, and her name's gonna be Candace." Now she had to wait 2 whole children between that, and that was like a collective of I don't even know when she thought of it to have a child named Candace, but it was definitely before my brother. My brother's 10 years older than me. So like she had to wait a while before she got to me. And then she's like, oh, okay, we have a Candace here. Like,
Candace, yay!
yay. And then my middle name is after my grandmother. So that is why that is my name.
I feel like it's no matter how many generations like go by, especially like in the last 3, I feel like it's very popular, like name your kid after a TV show or your favorite character. Like there's kids growing up now. We're gonna have Hermione's and
yes,
like
definitely gonna have Hermione's.
Kataras and Coras and like
yeah, I think there are some Coras just in
generation.
I definitely like Cora, like that's an older name or like a made up name. I don't know because
Cora. I feel like Cora, if you spell it like Cora, it's like a more traditional name.
Yeah,
but like the specific like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah,
Korra spelling.
Yeah.
But as far as how I got my name, so my name is Cheyenne, and my mom like grew up with this whole family story, like a lot of European people do in the United States. They're like, oh well, my great grandmother was Cherokee, or my great grandfather married a Cherokee princess.
Yeah,
like that story. Like, well, we did the DNA test like 3 years ago. Not Native American at all. So she named
not even a drop.
Not even a drop. So she named me Cheyenne because she thought it went with this whole family history of being Native American and blah, blah, blah. I was actually supposed to be a boy, so my name was supposed to be Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't happen. So Cheyenne it was.
Yeah.
And so we come to find out that we're not Native American. But yeah, I like my name anyway. And then like you, my middle name is after my grandmother.
Yeah. Okay, then that's sweet. Yeah, my family on my mother's side, because I'm thinking my grandfather, but it's like my mom. So on my mother's side, my grandfather's mother or his grandmother was full Native American of some sort, whatever. Cool. Supposedly Seminole. And then like trickle down there. And then on my father's side, my great grandmother, she's supposedly full-blooded Native American. Now you look at her face, you look at her pictures, it's like, oh yeah, that there, and like my grandmother and all her siblings, like you look at them and you're like, okay, yes, definitely, and then I did the same thing as you. I did the ancestry DNA test and I came back like 1% Native American, 1 or 2%. Yeah. My mother was like, that's literally nothing. And I'm like, it's something, man. Like it is. You gotta think about it, it's like, trickled down.
Exactly. I've done a lot of like genealogy research, and I've done a lot of like looking into the past to try to find people who have disappeared and like trying to figure out where they went, and like cousins, etc., so on and so forth. And like DNA just kind of like, I don't want to say disappears, but it like with the technology we have today, it becomes untraceable after like 5 generations.
Yeah. So at this point, it's not going to be as prevalent in my system or anything like that.
So like if you decided to have kids, your kids might not even show up as Native American.
Yeah.
Or it might be a point. It might be like a 0.1%.
Yeah. It was funny because I was working with my mom at a job one time, like she was a director or whatever, and I worked underneath one of her other coworkers, so I wasn't underneath her, but I was underneath somebody else. And we worked at this hospital in Boston, and I'm like, just sitting there and like minding my business or whatever. And the security guard, like, he comes up to me. He's like, "Excuse me, miss." He's like, "Do you know if you're Native American? Like, are you?" He's like, "You're Native American, right?" And I'm like, "I have some up in there." Like, I don't. He's like, "Do you know the
Somewhere.
tribe or something like that?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like my great grandmother, my great grandmother on this side, my great grandmother on that side. Yeah, but like I don't know the specifics. So my mom comes around the corner because she sees a guy talking to me. So she's just like mama bear mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Oh, so what's happening here? Like, what's going on?" He was like, "Oh, I was just asking this long." And she goes, "Oh yeah, this is my daughter." He goes, "Oh." He's like, "Oh yeah, I can see that." Like, he's like, "You guys look like, you guys look alike." So
Yeah.
he was just like, I'm just looking at her face. She goes, "And I can see it in your face. Like, you guys' cheeks, like the way your cheeks are, like it's kind of like it's very high, like,
Hmm.
but like, it's kind of flat, but then it has like a very high bone." And she's like, "Yes." He's like, "So is anybody Native American?" She's like, "Yeah, my father has a lot in him." And then like, his father. And he goes, "Oh, well, what?" She goes, "Seminole." And I'm like, "Why are you telling this man information I don't even know about my own family?
Right.
Like, what is this?" And so like he was just like, "Oh my God, I could see it in you guys' faces, like especially hers, like her face, like it just gives it." And I'm like, "What are you?" And I forgot what he said he gave all this information of tribes and all this stuff like that. And I was just like, "All right, man, bro. Like you look it, I'm not gonna say you ain't, I don't care, like, at this point." But he was
Right.
just going on. He's like, "I've never seen like, people who are predominantly black just looks like they have it, like, but you guys really have it." And I'm like, "Okay, like,
Sure. I'll take your word for
maybe
it.
because this
Like,
is Massachusetts, you don't see us a lot. I don't know. I don't know what to
maybe.
tell you. Like, I
The
don't
funny
know.
thing
Like,
is, like, the funny thing is, I've had people say that exact same thing to me. They're
yeah,
like, "You look so native, the high cheekbones," and I come to find out I'm not native at all.
yeah.
Like,
Like, it's just like one of those things. Like, okay, like, thanks, appreciate it. But
like, what if he came up to you? What if he came up to you and was like, "Oh my God, are you native? Your high cheekbones," and you were like, "No."
yeah,
Like,
like not a drop.
not a
Actually,
drop.
not a
You're
drop.
wrong, sir.
None of my family has ever even lived in this country. We're German, actually, to be. Which is funny because in all technical sense, I'm technically German American, but I'm really not. Like my father was born in Germany, but I'm more than sure it was on American base. So, but he was born in Germany, so he could have went around yelling, "Yo, I'm German American." So that's like our little funny thing in our family. Like, we're technically German, like by birth, we're technically German. But
by blood by blood, I'm like Hawaiian and Korean, but I was like adopted and raised in like a very Pennsylvania Dutch German
mm-hmm,
immigrant
mm-hmm.
family. And I do have like a lot of white in me. I'm like 77% white, and I'm kind of mad about it. Like,
you
I'm
just
kind of
you
mad
wanted
about
some
it.
more ethnic in you. You needed you
Well,
wanted.
like, I guess I was just kind of surprised, like, when I did the test. It's just like it really only takes like one drop of like dominant genes, like dark hair, dark eyes, dark skin, to make the difference. So
Yeah.
it was like I was just expecting it to be like a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
balanced.
Yeah, like mine's is 84 or 85% African, and then I think 14% European. And that's my calculation. My mom was like, "Wow, you're like white."
Yeah,
And I'm, where
mine's
do
like
you
seven.
think I got it from? You think this just developed in me some way,
Magic
somehow? Like it's just like I was like,
just
"Yes,
appeared.
cream, enter my body, please. I need this." Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
mine was like 77% white. And then even though I'm Korean, because of like how the whole like occupation of
Mm-hmm.
Korea by Japan and the occupation of Japan by China happened,
Mm-hmm.
I'm technically like 13% Chinese, and then
Okay.
like 2% Korean, and then like 6% like Hawaiian Polynesian in there.
Okay.
So it's
All right.
really like ethnicity is really it's really interesting when you look at it from like a migration point of view, and
Yes,
like just like
definitely.
blood wise, and
Mm-hmm.
like how did we get here, how did we come here, like why
Mm-hmm.
am I part Swedish, like.
Yeah,
And it's
like
funny because my mom did it too, and like she's oh, I don't know, she's like 3% Swedish, but I'm 9% Swedish. So it's really weird how it works that way.
Yeah, and like my highest European feature is I'm 7% Irish. So yeah, I don't know what that
Mine's
means.
English. I'm like
Yeah.
50%
My
English.
friends wanted me, like my two friends who I get white girl wasted with, they love it. They love getting incredibly intoxicated and having me take care of them. It's like their favorite thing to do in the world. They're like, we need to get you the clad ring. We need to get you the clad ring because you're Irish. And I'm like,
Oh, the clava.
I'm like, shut up. Shut up. I don't need to get the ring.
Fun fact, I started wearing that ring, the Clada ring, because I saw it in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and I thought it was so cool.
I honestly, I've all this, like, you know, my friends and everything, and they seen it, I was just like, does that mean you're in a relationship or whatever? But they typically say that their dads buy it for them or whatever. Like, it's like supposed to keep like
if you face it one way, it means you're single. If you face
single,
it the
yeah.
other way, it means you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was just like,
it's kind of like a purity ring.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
sorts.
that's what I heard. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know why dads are so worried about their daughter's vagina. Anyway, but that's another TI question. That's a whole nother TI question for you at a later date and time.
Yeah.
All right, so we are getting to the best part in our main part of our podcast is questions with Chayes, where I ask some, like, you know, not really hard hitting questions, but sometimes it can, you know, hit below the belt. But this one was pretty okay. So Janae Aiko and Big Sean, they have been supposedly dating off and on for the past like maybe 4 or 5 years or so. They were pretty hard on with each other for maybe like two years straight, and then they kind of just broke up seemingly, and now they're kind of back together in each other's good graces. So, and they seem like happy from social media standards. I don't know who these people are in real life, so therefore I can't tell you that. From social media standards, they look really, really happy with each other. And they just did a performance for the BET Hip Hop Awards. It looked good. I didn't even know the BET Hip Hop Awards was even on. But
I didn't know that was still going to be a thing this year.
Yeah, me either. Like
this whole year, I just kind of assumed everything's canceled.
Yeah, I went on the Shade Room and it was just like the BET Hip Hop Awards, and I'm like, what are you talking about? When did that even happen? But you know, it is what it is. So, my question to you is: do you think people need to break up to better themselves for each other?
Like, I feel like the word need is like a strong word in there.
So I'll put it in the terms of like,
I definitely think it's like it's possible.
Yeah,
but
I'll put it in the terms of like if you were in like, I'll give you a scenario. If you're in a relationship's going perfectly fine, like nothing's really bad happening, everything's going okay. But if for whatever reason it just seems like you two are just not syncing. Like it's like you are always good, but for whatever reason, for the past 3 to 6 months, let's just say, it's just been unsyncable. You know, like you're arguing about very, very, very petty things. Nothing really makes sense anymore. You know, you love this person, you want to be with them. There's not a doubt in your mind that you want anyone else. It's just for whatever reason, it's just not fair. Like it's not linking. And it doesn't have to be breakup as in I see other people, you see other people, we're dating other people, or
just like a timeout.
It's just a timeout. Like, you know, I know people hate the word break or whatever. But like you can be living, like you can be living with each other and just break up, like, you know, and kind of just take that time to really just, you know, what am I doing that isn't right for this relationship? What am I, like, you know, do some like real in-depth self-reflection and then kind of come back together after a period of time and come back together in that relationship and just say, like, you know, I've realized that I argue about you putting spoons in the dishes and stuff like that too much. Or I realize that, you know, like, do you think that a separation should happen between a couple if they've reached a mark where I want to separate from you before I hate you and see where we could come back?
I think it could definitely be beneficial, because I think sometimes like the routine of things can get a little stale.
Mm-hmm.
Like they like in the beginning of a relationship, right? You always have that honeymoon period. And you're like, oh my God, everything's so great. Everything. Oh, I love them.
Yes.
And then, after a while, the honeymoon period wears off. And like, I feel like marriages are the same way. So like, if you're like the first year or so of marriage is like the honeymoon phase all over again. Cause you're like, oh, this is serious. We're married. So I definitely think it can be beneficial, but I'm like the type of person where like, I feel like that would be like a last resort for me. Like if we're having these arguments, if we're having these disagreements, like I'm going to want to talk to you about it. And then if like we're still having difficulty, well then I'm not opposed to going to see somebody to give us like an outside opinion to talk about it.
Like a couple therapist or a
Like a
marriage
couples
counselor or
therapist or a
something.
marriage counselor. And some people are like, oh my God, you would do that? I was like, dude, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's just like, it's like yeah, like of course I would talk to my girlfriends about my relationship and he would talk to his buddies about it, but like my girlfriends are always going to be on my side and his guy friends are always going to be on his side, so it doesn't really like nobody comes out a winner, you could say. Like it's not about winning, but you know what I mean, you don't really get any definitive answers. But I really like the idea like outside perspectives can really like help you see things, because you're kind of blinded by the fact that you've been in this relationship for X amount of time. Maybe you guys have been through hell and back together, you've been through XYZ together, but the therapist just knows you're two people having problems. These are the problems you want to talk about, and you're going from there.
Yeah, I personally, I think that you should always like, in the speaking of friends, like let's just say if you can't afford going to a therapist, if you can't afford like, doing these things, like what's your next step? And your friends are for free, obviously. I feel like everyone has like, different categories of friends. Everybody has like, these are my best friends. These are my people that I either have known for a short amount of time, long amount of time, but they understand me, they get me. There's no confusion about who they are to me and vice versa. And then you have like, the second tier friends where you're just like, we're friends, we're cool. Like we still talk like we're best friends or whatever, but we don't like really hang out like that. We don't really talk like that, but we're still connected. And then you kind of have your third tier friends where, you're cool, you talk, everything's fine, but you don't spill beans that much, but you still have that connection to be able to and know that you can trust them enough to like not say anything. I think in a situation where it comes in where you're concerning about your relationship, I feel like with the right person, you should always go to a third tier kind of friend, just for the mere fact of your best friends know your relationship in and out.
I'm a hairstylist. Talk to your hairstylist
about it. Talk to your hairstylist, because
dude, my clients talk to me all the time.
Yeah.
Because like I see so many people, I'm not going to remember
who
told me what or what you told me about this, but I know I gave you advice about it.
Yep.
Like, so like, yeah, if anybody's going through that, I say talk to your hairstylist or your
barber. Because I feel like your best friends obviously already know the very ins and outs of the relationship. You're telling them every single thing you do every single day, what joke they said, everything. Your second tier friends, like, they've probably been around your other partner, like, because you all are pretty close. But your third tier ones, they have such an outer scope of your relationship because you don't talk about it that much with them. You don't really mention that many things with them. They just know, oh yeah, me and him, we're doing good. We're good. They kind of get that information. So if you give them the whole, like, hey, we're in a rut. No one's cheated. We're not like, I'm not talking about like, if this is a bad thing, don't be telling everybody, but like, this is like, we're just in a rut. I just don't know like where to go from here. We don't want to break up with each other. We want to stay with each other. Like, how do we get over this little hump? And I, the reason why I use Janae Aiko and Big Sean is because it just seemed like, like I said, through a social media standpoint, because that's all I can give, is that in the midst of them being separated, there was no moves to other people. There was no talking to, like, the social media didn't go, oh my God, we caught someone talking to someone. It was just kind of like, it just seemed like, and Janae Aiko is such like a very spiritual person within herself. It just seemed like they both kind of just had to evolve in their own right and then come back together. And I feel like they have like a happier relationship, because I definitely have seen couple, and I've even been in that place where I've been with a person and it had gotten to a point of just like, I don't know what's going on, but I get
Yeah.
like this needs to breathe. This
Yeah.
needs to breathe for a
Yeah,
while.
and I think like them being celebrities in the public
Mhm.
eye adds like a whole nother level of like peer pressure and
Mhm.
like lack of privacy on top of
Yeah.
everything. So I feel like that can really be like difficult for people to deal with too.
Yeah,
And like
definitely.
when we talked like right before this started, you asked me if I knew who Janae Aiko was. And like I
Mhm.
do vaguely, but like I guess that's kind of a good thing because the only reason
Mhm.
I know of her vaguely is because like she's not in drama.
Yeah.
She's not in the tabloids. She's
Mhm.
not doing shit that she shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
She's like a very like you said, spiritual person. She just kind of
Mhm.
does her own thing. She doesn't want to make waves. She's a very like kind of like kumbaya type of
Yeah.
soul is the vibe I get from her. So I could definitely see like in a relationship when you're in the public eye, I could see that being a problem as
Yeah.
well.
I always just feel like, especially like, I know some people go like, well, what if we're not living in two different households? What if we're like married? What if like, what do we do in that case? And I always feel like if you are married or you live together in one space, I say, I seen it on Grey's Anatomy where I think it was Callie in Arizona had to break up
Yeah,
in it
but they were
in the
still
house, but they were
cohabitating.
still cohabitating
Yeah,
and
they had
co-parenting. So
yep,
they weren't
they had
speaking to
separate
each other.
bedrooms.
There was nothing. They had two different bedrooms. They weren't
Mhm.
they weren't talking to each other. They kind of just like were living single in the house
Mhm.
and just being mindful of their own brain, their own
Yep.
task, what they have to do. And I feel like people should do that. Like,
You know,
just
I'm
because like, mhm,
I'm always like I'm definitely an advocate for having like a separate bedroom. Like
yes.
even like me and my boyfriend have talked about it. I was like, hey, I was like, I kind of want my own room. Not because like I
Mhm,
ever plan on not sleeping next to you, but
mhm,
maybe like it could be like I'm a crafty person, so I could have like my bed in there and I could have my craft space in
yeah,
there. And maybe it could also be like my gaming room. So, because there's like things that I like to do that he doesn't like to do, but
mhm.
like it's also stuff that I don't want like spilling into the living
Yeah,
area.
and then like, what if I had, like you said, if I have my own thing that I do, and we have a bedroom, I can put in there, and I don't want to take over the living room with like my junk, essentially. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
where else am I supposed to have this space to, kind of just have my mental free time, and
Yeah.
just let my brain kind of relax?
Right. And also like you have a like say you have a disagreement, you have an argument, you don't have to like leave, you can go to your space.
Yeah.
Like you said that you like as a kid, as a Cancer, you just like to stay in your room, go to the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
and come back. And I'm
Yeah.
a Pisces. I'm a Pisces, but like I very much identify with that. Like I love just to like stay in my little room. I have a whole place to myself now, so like the whole place is my room now. But
Mm-hmm.
like when I was living with roommates, like I did not sit in the living room with my roommates, not because I didn't like them, but I don't know, it
Yeah.
just kind of felt weird. I just
It
like
felt,
my own
yeah.
I just like my own space. I like to watch the TV that I want to watch. I'm a very like introverted person. I don't really need
Mm-hmm.
I interact with people all day. I talk to people all day when I cut
Yeah.
hair. So when I come home, I don't want to talk. Like
Yeah.
I want to relax. I want to watch stupid YouTube videos of people killing their Sims in swimming pools.
It's like you're my
And
personality twin. Like I
yeah,
like that's exactly like what people don't get is like I forgot what's the word for the in between. Like when you're
ambivert.
um ambivert, thank you. So like as much as a extrovert that I am, I definitely have very introverted tendencies. Like I can sit in my room and just be fine and not feel like I'm trapped and I can't breathe. Like I'm perfectly fine with that. I can lay in bed all day because I know my body's going to need that rest and relaxation. But when I start feeling my body aching, that's when I'll get up and, start
Mm-hmm.
doing something.
Yeah.
When like, the pandemic wasn't a thing, when I would go to work, I would come home and I would park in the driveway and just sit in my car for like 20 minutes to an hour just to have
Yes.
secluded, that secluded
I
like
do that
noise
all the time. I
just
would
to
just
be
sit
to
there and
myself.
just browse on Facebook,
Yeah,
TikTok.
you just
Sometimes
it's
I'd
just
watch
a
a whole YouTube
moment.
video.
It's a
And it's
moment to
just like,
have to
yeah,
yourself.
And it really is like serene just to
Yeah.
be in your car, and like you don't have to deal with the noise of the house.
Yeah,
And
and like yesterday it was raining. Well, it's raining here today too, but
same,
yesterday it was
yeah.
raining, and I usually have my Spotify going, and oh, so, hi Veronica. Yeah, the Vote with Chayes, that is the name of my podcast, but we're actually on my YouTube channel for Swipes and Giggles because I couldn't get it all together. Like, it's just a lot of stuff going on right now. But
Switching
yeah,
it
like
up
it
this week.
yeah, but I was driving in the rain, and I usually have my Spotify going. I usually have some smooth R&B. Like I'm an R&B, old school R&B and hip hop like fan head. And
Yes.
so I usually have music going, but I was just driving. I was like, it feels good to just hear cars driving on rain, hearing rain hit the window, hearing just air flow. Like it just feels good to have to hear the wipers. It just feels good to have like my own ASMR like in the car, like to have my
Yeah.
own like sounds develop around me and just be in peace with that instead of just like I have to have music playing, I have to this, I have to like have something to keep my attention. I think that's what a lot of people just forget is like you don't have to have something keeping your attention all the time. Like you can just sit
Be.
in
Yeah.
it, like you could just be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Sometimes
yeah.
like I sometimes like I have like ADHD, so like I'm like
Mhm.
very much like a multitasker. I need this on, I
Mhm.
need this on, I need this on. But if I'm really feeling like just a low key, like easy morning, I'll put on like rainy jazz. It's like a live channel on YouTube, and it has like natural rain sounds with like some soft jazz music.
Oh, okay.
It's very peaceful. It's
It
very
sound
nice.
it feels warm. It feels like very like just
Uh,
comforting, like a nice cup of
yeah.
coffee or hot chocolate.
Yep. And it's
Just
like morning or night. I can do a cup of tea in the morning. I can do a
mhm,
glass of wine at night, and it's just
mhm.
like a nice wind down vibe.
That sounds like something I'm gonna have to be doing tonight. It's just like sounds like maybe a nice cup of tea and just like kind of have like my little dim lights on just to have that comfort and everything. It sounds wonderful. But Cheyenne, thank you so much for
Of
coming on the
course.
podcast. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for emailing me to be
Yeah,
on.
no problem. This is so
You
much
don't
fun.
understand it's so funny though. I actually had another person on my podcast named Cheyenne also, which
Really?
is I've had two Cheyennes now, which is really funny. She's actually from Massachusetts. She's like into theater and like art and all that other stuff. But she's actually been on my podcast too, which is like it's funny. It's pretty dope. I love the fact that I'm like, oh, I get
I don't
another
really
Cheyenne.
believe I don't really believe in coincidences. I kind of believe that like everything happens for a reason. I don't claim
Mhm.
to know the reason, but I think that
Yeah.
there is like some sort of like divine pattern, I guess you
Howard,
could say,
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's definitely I love it. And I will be emailing you for your address so I can send you a nice shirt. Just send me your size and everything
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
That's good.
And yeah, but thank you so much. I truly do appreciate
Of
it.
course.
It
Thank
was great
you.
talking to you. Like I said, I feel like it's like a personality twin. Like we just feel like we feel it
Yes,
between each other.
I
Yes.
feel like we definitely like vibed, and not just for the podcast. I definitely feel like we like got closer through this.
Yes,
So
definitely. And it's nice to like get off of TikTok screen when you're just looking at my face on a big part of the
yeah.
phone and like
Well,
you
and
can only
also
just
like
type.
limited characters.
Yeah, you can't really say that much and everything. And that's
TikTok
why
needs to fix that. They need to
yeah,
fix
that's
that.
why I've always said like I wanted to try to do like a 21 and over or maybe like a different demographic group for each party, like just have like a Zoom party with like the my followers and just really be like hey, this is me, here's you, let's chat, like who are you, what are you about, what's going on, and just kind of have something like that. I think that would be so much fun to actually have some interactive thing going on because I it still weirds me out that like if I pop into someone's live that I follow or if I reply back to a comment, they're like, oh, you replied? Oh my God, you're in my live. This is just so much. And I'm just like, who am I? Like, I'm just a person.
You're
Like,
like,
I'm not,
I'm just
like,
me.
I'm just
Just
me.
a
Like,
person.
don't make it seem like I'm like this super, I'm like, I'm Oprah or J-Lo or Rihanna or something like coming in the live. Like, I'm about to give
You
away
get a live
cards.
comment.
You get a card, you get a live comment. Like, like, but it's definitely a lot of fun. And I love interacting with people and I loved interacting with you. I loved having this conversation and I loved your input and everything. It was just awesome. I actually just made a Discord. So maybe one day I could have people hop on the Discord and just, ramble on if they like to at the same
Oh yeah.
time. Yeah, but thank you so much. Do you have any social medias you do, like, do you want to give out, like, where you work at and
Yeah,
hairstylist, like,
so
anything?
I have a hairstylist Instagram. It's Shy Cuts Hair,
Mm-hmm.
SHY Cuts Hair, all one word. That's my hair Instagram. And then I do have a TikTok, like a personal TikTok. It's Shay Does Things. So that one's spelled SHEY, Does Things.
Okay. You know what's so funny? When I first saw you pop on my live with the shite, I was
Mhm.
like, is this another account of someone pretending to be me? Because I was like, if this is another account, I'm going to break something. Like, it's been two now that have literally
Really?
pretended to, like, honestly took videos, pictures, and everything from my Instagram, took stuff, screen recorded stuff of my TikTok, and like was actually pretending to be me. And I'm like,
See, we were talking about people who put too much energy into stupid shit.
yeah.
That one.
And I was
That
just like, because I was like, looking, I was like, that's just too coincidental that it's just Shay, and everybody thinks my name is Shay. And I'm like,
one.
it's literally, if you break it down, it's C Hayes. If you put it together, it's Chayes. Like, I don't know why people
Chase,
can't
yeah.
read anymore, but like, but I'm so happy that you joined in and you joined in the live, and I'm happy that you did this. Thank you so, so, so much.
Of course,
I will
thank
be
you.
emailing you and everything. So thank you
Awesome.
so much. I appreciate it. And I hope you have
No
a wonderful and
problem.
great night. Thank